So, what do you see seasonally? I would assume that Friday and Saturday nights are generally just bigger nights in the business. Is that accurate?
That is 100% accurate, Chris. With Friday night being our biggest night, that's really the call it the Super Bowl of the week. And then we have, and speaking of which, we have certain big holidays that really drive sales for us. Super Bowl being one of them. Halloween being another one, and surprisingly to a lot of people, Valentine's Day is a big day for us. Ordering pizza and you're dropping it off for the kids, and mom and dad going out to a nice dinner.
Wanted to welcome our guest to the Dirt Dog Pod this week. We have Gerardo Flores, Chief Development Officer with Marco's Pizza.
Thank you for having me, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, you're a great guest. We just got open our first Marco's Pizza in our portfolio in West Valley City.
Oh.
And really thrilled with that. And it appears that our franchisee, Jake Webb out there, Jacob is off to the races and doing some good sales. So we're happy about it.
Jacob is a great franchisee for us. He owns all the stores in the Salt Lake market. As a matter of fact, I just had a conversation with him today about some more development, not just within the Salt Lake market, but outside of it. So it's super exciting. He's our area representative as well in the Utah market. So now he's starting to develop South Utah down in St. George. So absolutely love Jake. Known him for quite a bit. So great guy.
I think it's definitely the sign that you're getting older when the people you grew up with, like from childhood, are now the business leaders that you're working with as an adult.
Well, adults, exactly. Well, I'll throw another one at you. You're getting old when your son is getting into the industry as well. So there you go.
Oh, tell me about that. How great is that, though? Right?
I'm telling you, I'm super proud of him. He is. The joke we've had for a long time is he started going down several different industries after he graduated from college. And I could tell him, I said, it's inevitable. You're fighting your destiny. You're going to end up in commercial real estate. So stop fighting it. And sure enough, he ended up in commercial real estate. So super proud of him, just trying to give him all the knowledge I have and connect him with all the folks that we know. And I'd love to make the intro to you as well, Chris. But again, super proud of him. He's doing quite well.
I love that. Is he engaged? Is he doing something, brokerage work, something else right now?
No, he's working on the tenant side, actually. He's working for Marco's of all folks.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What is he doing for Marco's?
Yeah, he's a real estate coordinator for us right now. So he's got to do all the work that you and I did coming up into the industry. So, call it the grunt work, if you will. But he's getting his feet wet and getting to ICSCs and retail live meetings and stuff like that. So, he's doing well.
I love that. Is his direct report you, or
is that no? We cannot have it. No, he reports up to the head of real estate.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, that's good. That's probably better, to be honest with you, right?
It's way better. It's way better. Yeah, imagine working with your dad directly, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. It was funny. I started down that path, and then I quickly pivoted over and started as a broker and just decided, look, I love you, but like maybe I should come over here and work here for a while.
Yeah, it's a great niche. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, Chris, and I don't call it a job. I absolutely love what I do, so it's definitely not a job.
So, tell me about why Marco's. How'd you end up there, and why are you there, and why do you like it?
So I was, I've been in the commercial real estate side of the business for 20 years, and my dream was always to move up into a C-suite position. And the opportunity just presented itself. I got a call from a mutual friend of a Jersey Mike franchisee of ours, and she called me up and said, "Hey, we're looking for a head of real estate to run Marco's." And I at the time I was running real estate for Tropical Smoothie, and I jokingly said, "Well, I have one of those already. I don't need another one." So she said, "Well, coincidentally, we're also looking for CDO," and I go, "Coincidentally, that's my dream job. I really would love to move up to a CDO role and run the ship, if you will." So I got the opportunity. I met with Tony Labardi, who's our CEO, and Jack Buterak, who's the owner of the company. Had a great meeting, and I remember leaving the meeting and calling my wife and saying, "Hey, listen, I gave him all I got. This is it. I threw everything at him. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't." And I got a call later on that day saying, "Hey, we'd love to offer you the job." So it's been a wonderful run. It's been challenging, Chris. The the markets have been really tough out there lately over the last 2 years. But love Marco's, love the brand, love the food. And you can't, from my perspective, you got to believe in the food to really work for the company. So I've been lucky. I've been extremely lucky.
And it's such a good interview to kind of leave it out on the field, right? When you've left it all on the field, I feel like what's the worst that can happen, right? It doesn't go your way. Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. But again, it was just a great interview with Tony and Jack. And I left feeling really good. But like you said, I left it on the field. I left everything on the field, and it worked out. It worked out great.
So you go to Marcos, and how long ago was that when you took that role?
About 2.5 years ago, September of 2022.
And you're sitting at, what's your store count today?
1,230.
Okay. And where were you when you started?
Oof, we were in the, I should know this answer, actually. I'm trying to follow the FDD rules, obviously, here and give you the proper count. I want to say in the 1,000 range, ish. So, I can get you that number down the road here.
So to add 250 stores over 2.5 years in today's environment, it seems like it's been much harder for developers to build multi-tenant over the last 2.5 years.
It's been challenging, and really our wheelhouse is a strip center developer, and it's been challenging, not just finding the real estate, but really making the deals pencil. It's been again, we've had success. We're going to open. My expectation, we're going to open close to 100 stores this year again.
Wow.
And again, it's been challenging trying to backfill that pipeline right now. But my hope is that when interest rates change, developers start, really building more real estate, and we were able to really drive more openings for ourselves. So our goal is to get to 150 and then 200 and 300 store openings, just like we sort of we did at Jersey Mike's. So that's ultimately the goal for us.
And how has so you spoke a little bit about the culture there with your interview process with the owner. How has the culture been from moving from like Jersey Mike's over to a Marcos?
It's most definitely a different culture with Jersey Mike's than it is at Marcos. At Jersey Mike's, it was really operated and run by one person. All the decisions really had to be made by the top level. And again, nothing wrong with that. I don't want to disparage Jersey Mike's. It's an absolutely wonderful company. But with here at Marcos, there's a lot more autonomy in what we do. And, I give my team the autonomy to make those decisions as well. So rather than it flowing down, if for the most part, it flows up. And we really encourage our at least my team members to really make decisions on the ground level that benefit our franchisees.
It's interesting. So going from a senior real estate manager to a chief development officer, what does that entail? What do you have? In other words, what grows? And you said it was one of your kind of targeted jobs that you were trying to achieve. What does that change for you? What are you doing when you step into the office as a chief development officer that you did not do as a senior real estate manager?
Well, the simple thing is, as you're a real estate executive, you're running real estate. Once you move into a CDO role for a franchise company, now you're not just running real estate, but you're running franchise sales, franchise recruitment, franchise finance, obviously, as I mentioned, real estate, and the construction as well. So you're not just have one pillar that you're overseeing a multitude of them. And really it's getting them all to work together as one, so to seamless process down the road. We call it really the path to ownership process, and really finding the franchisee, getting them through that process, getting them to sign a franchise agreement, and then moving up through the pipeline to open up a store. So there's been a real shift from kind of away from the real estate side, more to the recruitment and construction side from my perspective.
Have you seen post-COVID more people want to move into a franchise role? Has that increased the number of franchisees, prospects?
We have, believe it or not, and believe it or not, we've seen an uptick in franchise recruitment or franchise interest in California, despite the minimum wage increases. So yes, there's been an increase in the lead generation piece for us, because I think people want to take control of their lives. They want they want to be the bosses, if you will, and have more control over their future rather than sitting sort of behind the desk, if you will.
It's blown my mind looking at some of the shopping pattern behaviors that have been adjusted post-COVID. And then just looking at some of the residential decision making, right? So we talked there at the first about Jacob Webb looking at Southern Utah now for some additional units. I just look at that. I mean, I was talking to a realtor friend of mine yesterday who's telling me about multiple listings in the $2 to $6 million range in St. George as second home residences for people from California, which that market was always traditional, maybe a second home market for Salt Lake people.
Right.
And now you're seeing new primary residents that are just relocating and, they can work from home and they don't want to live where they're living.
And you nailed it, Chris. And that's sort of some of the challenges that we have because there's just been such a shift in population from certain states to other states. The other thing that I foresee here shortly is a lot of these companies are calling their workers back to the office. You've seen the larger companies do it. We're not mandating that just yet, but or if ever, I don't know what direction we're going to take there. But fact is that what used to be a concentration of employment at a core has really dispersed into folks' homes, and I feel like to some extent it's going to eventually come back to the way it used to be pre-COVID. So managing a demographic in that respect is a little difficult because it's fluid. It changes constantly.
Are people eating more pizza post-COVID or less?
It's about the pizza industry is about flat right now. And really what's the shift has been a third-party delivery. If you remember, pre-COVID, there was really two things you can get delivered: pizza and Chinese food. Now you can get anything delivered. Sure, you can get groceries delivered at this point. So there's really, you mentioned there's been a shift in the way people not just live but eat and travel. The pizza industry has seen a shift in that respect as well.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you guys do delivery, it's all through third-party app?
No, we do both. We have our own in-house drivers, and then we also do the third-party aggregators as well.
That's the one part about the pizza industry. It always blows my mind is not only are you trying to help a franchisee learn how to train their, team members, how to make a great pizza and get it done, get the ingredients in right, but then also to get it delivered and do it safely and do it in a route that makes sense.
That's exactly it. I mean, when you have 5, 6, 10 drivers out on the road at one time, obviously you got to keep them all safe. So it's a very fine-tuned process. I mean, we've been doing this for quite a bit. We have a robust POS system. We have new technology coming out as well. So it's exciting what's coming, but Marco's is coming here.
So a driver hops in their car, and the way it works today that, that's out there is that he's got some route, he or she has some route that they're following. Is that?
Yes, and we're able to track them with our in-store POS system as well. We can calculate the distance, the time, get there and back, so we can almost figure out how many deliveries we can do per hour. Again, the POS system is pretty robust and it helps to really manage the process.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. What is a typical Marco? So for those that might be listening to us here and listening to this episode and thinking about, hey, I don't appreciate my career, where I'm headed, and maybe I want to be a Marco's franchisee. What does a typical franchisee look like for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think there is a typical franchisee per se, Chris. We have a several step process to really evaluate our franchisees. It starts with the application coming in, and then we take the application, and there are certain financial benchmarks that they have to meet to move to the next step. And if they meet those financial benchmarks, we take them through, as I mentioned, the path to ownership process. We have what's called a discovery day where they come in and we do a virtual meeting, and we give them as much information as we can, as is allowed by the FDD. And then they take that information and they go back and they do the due diligence. And then what we'll do is we'll put them through an in-store process. So we'll invite them to one of our local stores, and we'll run them through what it takes to be a Marco's franchisee. They'll make pizzas or we'll run the front of the house. We won't send them out on the deliveries, but we really sort of run them through the gamut, if you will. and really evaluate them. And then we get that evaluation. My team gets that evaluation back, and we keep on going down the process. And then once sort of all the I's have been dotted and all the T's have been checked, we go back and we have what's called decision day. And that's when they come in and meet with some executives. And that's really the final decision on whether or not we move forward with them. But the one thing I always tell the prospects is it is just as much an interview for you as it is for us. So I want to make sure that the franchisee or the prospect is comfortable with us as we are with them. So it's a dual interview process, if you will.
Okay.
But from a true, what is the ideal candidate? Outside of the financial qualifications, I'm looking specifically for personality. We work in the food industry, right? We want to make sure that they're going to be able to take care of our customers. So personality is a big piece for me when I'm interviewing the final candidates.
I would think that one of the reservations that some of your franchisee candidates might have is, to run one of these restaurants, you have to have how many employees typically per location?
At peak times, anywhere between 5 to 7, plus another 5 to 7 drivers as well. So
does that mean you're staffing 30-ish per location, more or less?
Around 30-ish, 30 to 35-ish, correct.
How many people, because it's interesting, so you're making a jump from probably in most cases some version of a W-2 paycheck, right? Where it's a salary. And then you're going in and now you're an entrepreneur and you're employing 30 or 40 people per location.
Right.
How hard, does the parent company help with some of the systems and the payroll and that kind of stuff? Is there training on those kind of things?
There is. We have systems for just about anything, Chris, from a food and labor percentage, food and labor calculation, to managing your drivers, to managing the schedules. So there's literally everything that we have within the system is automated. And there's nothing that you need to do. You don't need to handwrite a schedule. The system will help you handwrite a schedule based on previous week's performances. So it really is a full supportive structure here. We have systems in place for all of it. So
yeah, I would say that you're just making it a little bit idiot proof, which is like for me, that's how everything needs to be done, right?
we simplify it, right? At the end of the day, it's pizza. We want you to have fun,
Right. Yes.
And is it dumbed down a little bit? Maybe, but fact of the matter is we try to simplify it because let's have fun. It's pizza, and it's a great product too. So you get to enjoy it at the end of the day.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when Ms. Hatch sends me to the grocery store, it's usually with a list that's texted, a hard copy, and then notes attached to each item, right?
Do you get pictures like I do then?
Yeah. Yes. This is exactly what I'm referring to. Yep. Yeah, no problem.
Got it. Mrs. Flores will send me with pictures too, Chris. So there you go.
That's good. So pizza is a funny product because it's not like coffee where you're getting it every day, right? On the way to work or something. So what do you see seasonally? I would assume that Friday and Saturday nights are generally just bigger nights in the business. Is that accurate?
That is 100% accurate, Chris. With Friday night being our biggest night, that's really the call it the Super Bowl of the week. And then we have, and speaking of which, we have certain big holidays that really drive sales for us. Super Bowl being one of them. Halloween being another one, and surprisingly to a lot of people, Valentine's Day is a big day for us. It's ordering pizza and dropping it off for the kids, and mom and dad going out to a nice dinner. So Valentine's Day is a big day for us.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, it seems like it would be interesting from a staffing perspective because you got to staff up for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also kind of prime time because people usually like to be available on Friday and Saturday nights for their own personal lives.
And it's funny because another question I asked during the interview process is, are you ready to give up your Friday nights? Because, as an owner, you should be in your store every Friday night. So it's make or break for you, really.
Yeah. No kidding, right?
Yeah. So again, it goes back to personality, right, Chris? I mean, if you're used to going out and having drinks with your friends every Friday night and you're unwilling to give that up, this may not be the right industry for you. So it's critical for me to understand what their purpose is as they move into franchising.
Interesting. Okay, so I've gotten through the interview process as a prospective franchisee with you. I am there. You're starting to onboard me into the training. Are you typically looking to say, okay, here, I live in this area. Here's a sandbox in which to go play, go find some sites. How does it work from there?
So what we do is we put you in touch with our real estate team. And this is really the kickoff. So we do have a true onboarding process. We'll do a full virtual onboarding piece where we introduce you to all the players, and I'm talking about the real estate, the ops, the marketing, and the construction folks, amongst other people. But we've gone through and we've done a full market planning. And we'll talk Salt Lake, for instance. We've already mapped out what we want Salt Lake to look like, right? We've done a full penetration plan for the Salt Lake market, and we're ready to get going. So once we get the franchisee into the system, we sit them down and really talk to them about some of the areas in the market. Do we want them closer to home so they're able to oversee the business? Of course. But the real estate isn't always available there. So we really leave it wide open for our franchisees to take a look at the best real estate available in the market. So they are required to use our preferred brokers in the market. They're required to use our preferred or approved, I should say, architects and engineers, and they're required to use our approved general contractors as well. And we do that for consistency, right? The last thing, you're in the brokerage business. The last thing I need is 4 or 5 brokers running the Salt Lake market. I need one broker to really help me lay it all out and work with our franchisees to drive the real estate. So go through the real estate search process, go through the LOI process, get to the lease piece, and we get you into design. That's where you work with our engineers and architects, and as you know, getting through that process and getting into permitting is where the delay is going to be. Once we get into the city, forget it. Who knows what's going to happen? 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months from now. So once we get you through that phase, we've got a GC selected, get you construction, get you open, and we turn you over to ops.
Really streamlining that simplified, version of the process you were mentioning.
It really sounds simple, but there's a lot of little steps in the middle. Keep in mind that during that phase, we're also looking at getting through training, hiring. They're going through training, hiring, and training their employees as well. So there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes as we in development are trying to get that store through the pipeline.
And then as they're getting the store open, so it's under construction, getting open, they're finishing the training, and now they're starting to staff. So do they buy their product? I assume that there's somebody in the operational side that points them to here's where you buy pepperoni and here's where you buy dough and everything, or whatever, flour and water.
Yeah, so our operations team will be on hand to really walk you through what that first order is going to look like. And again, we have checklists for all of this. We really, as you noted, Chris, we tried to dumb it down and make it easy. There's a lot of standard stuff that you need to buy to stock your store, simple stuff as in salt or sugar or whatever the case may be. But we have a long checklist of what needs to be purchased to fill that store.
So of the 1,230 stores out there, do you know offhand about how many franchisees you have?
We have about a little under 400 franchisees total that own all 1,230 stores.
Okay. So average of 3 stores per person out there?
A little under 3 stores, yeah. Correct.
Wow.
Correct, yes.
And that seems like good size, 3 stores. It usually seems like most people can keep a handle on 3. Once you go from 3 to 4, then you might as well go to 50, it seems like.
Candidly, once you start getting to that 4th store, you start talking about hiring a district manager to help out, for sure. But that's my goal, Chris, when I came in here and really set the strategic plan for this company. 3-ish is great. I love nothing more than to have 400 franchisees in 2,000 stores, right? Get them to an average of 5, and then ultimately get them up. But at the end of the day, the more stores our franchisees have, the more successful they
are. In the 20-year career that you've had, I think, let's see, every one of your concepts has been franchise. Is that right?
It's all been franchise, exactly. Yes, and my career has been built on franchising.
What have you seen over the last 20? If you had to look at like year 1 or your first few years of your career to now, what are you seeing in the difference? What's the biggest difference in the franchisees?
The biggest difference with franchisee is really twofold. One is cost, obviously. There's been an exponentially higher cost in getting those stores open. 2 is systems. When I first got into franchising, we didn't have there weren't a lot of systems in place, but everything is automated now. Everything runs through the POS system. It's sort of one point of contact for everything. So it's a lot more streamlined. It's a lot more digital. You can check sales. You can check your cameras. You can do everything with your phone these days. You didn't have that technology back in the day, so there's a lot more controls in place for sure.
Do you think, I would assume that that makes it much more, it just makes it easier to manage? So back to your simplifying statement.
It gives me the opportunity to take a one store operator to two stores and three stores, and ultimately, like I said, I'm hoping to get to that 5+ average piece. It makes the easier we make the operations, the more apt they are to grow with the company. Yes.
I, it seems to me from my impression that I would say we see a lot more private equity starting to come into the franchisee space. And just overall restaurant, corporate ownership of restaurants, franchisor space, et cetera. Do you see that as well? Is that translating into what you're seeing on the new sales side for franchises?
Well, I'll tell you that from the franchisee side or the franchisor side. Sorry.
Well, both really, right? I mean, you have the perspective of both because you've worked for the franchisor and then you're selling to franchisees, right?
Right, right. So I'll tell you, I mean, my last two companies in Jersey Mike's and Tropical Smoothie just got, purchased by private equity. Blackstone, I believe, both of them. Now that I think about it.
Right.
But from a private equity perspective, those folks are looking for, as we call it, buying EBITDA. They want to come in and buy large swaths of stores that are already producing EBITDA. They're not really interested in building new stores these days. They're just looking to consolidate big portfolios down into one and really operate them that way. So, which is great. I have absolutely no issues with that. But I'm the development guy. I need to develop these stores. So, my hope is that when they come in and buy like I said, a group of stores, I can really convince them to buy a couple of new franchise agreements to develop the stores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or at least intermix it, right? Maybe you buy a market that's got a few stores open and it's got more growth potential.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. That's exactly. So we do target those not sure I want to call them private equity, but the larger mambos, as we call them, the multi-unit, multi-brand owners. Would really love to grow their brand with those folks. Very well capitalized. They have operations teams in place, good operators. They know how to market the store. So that's really what the target is. The target strategy is to chase those mambos.
And then on the franchisor side, you have the benefit of working for a private company today.
Yes. That's exactly it. And again, going back to the last few companies, they've all been private. So it's great because it's a lot less controls, I guess. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but your decisions can be made a lot faster when it's a private company.
Well, I think it makes sense, right? I mean, the PE companies come in, they buy the private company, and they paid a lot of money for it. So they've got to put a lot of checks and balances in to make sure that they're tracking to get a return on their capital, right?
You nailed it. That's exactly what I've seen with private equity. Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's always funny, like in the real estate Twitter world and the LinkedIn world, there's, the communities of like the retweet that really like to make fun of the Harvard MBAs wearing vests that, take over some, small to medium sized business. It's kind of the funny part of things, right, out there.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't, I try to stay off Twitter these days but very active on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of good content out there right now.
Yeah. It's interesting. Let's go back to just, kind of today's environment. And I look at, the concept of building new strip malls, and we've looked at a few of them over the last, year. And it's just interesting because I don't think we've looked at a single building where we haven't needed to achieve over $40 a square foot to basically meet the cost, for where the new construction is, looks like where it's going to lay out. Right. And it's so interesting because as you start working with many of the shop space users, a lot of them just have a hard time. They're just not hitting average unit volumes to cover those kind of rents. And, how do you see that impacting growth over the next 12 months?
Well, and you nailed it. I mean, the fact that pro formas aren't really hitting those numbers is really impacting how we're trying to pencil our deals as well. I will tell you that we've gone from trying to do larger format stores to doing much smaller format stores just so we can make those numbers pencil. 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus rent are hard to swallow when you're at double digit triple nets as well. And that's where the challenge really comes in, and it starts to really impact the bottom line. So we've seen our sales go from 2,000 square feet to 18 to 16. We're down to about 1,200 square feet formats right now. And I could probably squeeze one in a little smaller than 1,000 square feet, but now we start having some operational challenges at that point. So we work very closely with our ops team to make sure that we're able to lay out the store format in the proper way. But to your point, to really offset what we're seeing as an increase in rents and triple net, we're going with smaller format stores.
So as you have shrunk the footprint, what is it that you were getting rid of to shrink that footprint?
The lobby, for the most part, where we reduced the lobby. We used to have seating in the lobby. Now we don't have seating in the lobby, and we're down to about 200 square feet of lobby space with no seating in there whatsoever. So there's a bench in there where you can sit and wait for your pizza, but we went from I wouldn't say full service, but a sit down, order your pizza, sit down type of concept to a Dalco, a delivery carry out model, where we just 1,200 square feet. You got the engine in the back and 200 square feet in the front, and that's it.
So engine didn't change. It was just that upfront customer experience.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. It's back to the triple net part. Most of these triple nets are taxes right now. We're obviously seeing wild things happening with insurance, and you have like California wildfires and flooding, on the East Coast from hurricanes. It just seems like it's the perfect recipe that is just going to keep increasing over the next few years. And, it is a tough math equation to solve right now.
It's a challenge, and let's just assume interest rates come down and developers start building again. We still have that challenge of triple nets. All right, Colorado, for instance, it's challenging right now. Those are in the triple digits as well. Minimum wage, as you see, is spreading outside of California too, which is impacting our bottom line as well. So again, it's a challenging industry right now, but AUVs usually help offset that, and getting the cost of that store format down is really our goal into 2025. Chris, we're really trying to drive the cost of not just construction but the equipment, and we're really looking at every aspect of the box and make sure that we can get our franchisees in at a reasonable cost.
Is there much difficulty sourcing the various components that you need to run the pizza engine in the back room? I know like during COVID, a lot of people hit a lot of supply chain problems. We're still having problems getting switchgear for multi-tenant buildings, as an example.
Right. So the good news on our end is about 95+% of our deals are second gen space. So we're not waiting for switch gears or HVAC systems or stuff like that. So knock on wood, right now we're not having any of those issues. But for the most part, a lot of the stuff outside of the electrical pieces, there's no supply chain issues. Yeah.
Boy, that number blows my mind. 90% of the deals that Marco's are doing are second gen spaces.
Correct.
With as tight as vacancy is, because it's really just such a robust market and so few people building anything, that kind of is mind blowing.
It's a testament to our real estate team, candidly. We're really looking for a lot of off market deals. We're really driving relationships between myself and our real estate folks. Looking at rent rolls, trying to get out in front of landlords putting a potential vacant space on the market, and just getting out ahead of it. It's really candidly is our piece right now.
Well, the other component to think through in all that is how many times you wheel up to a grocery, anchored shopping center and have a multi-tenant building that doesn't already have a pizza user. So not only are you getting ahead of it, but it's also you're avoiding the exclusive from the other pizza folks.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's not just the top five, including us. It's all of the small mom and pop shops, the local shops. Any other concept that wants a block pizza from us. Even the larger guys like Chuck E. Cheese and those guys that sell pizza that really don't quite compete with us, but they have an exclusive. Yes, it's challenging.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
That number is way higher than I ever would have expected you to have said.
Yeah. We don't, not that we don't target new development, because we do. We got to fill the pipeline into 26 and 27, but The deals that we're approving at real estate committee right now are coming in second gen.
It's interesting though, because if you look at like 23, 24, and 25, I feel like basically the only developers moving forward on new construction, it wasn't people looking to exit immediately because there was no math to solve there, right? I mean, you pretty much had to be building to hold because the cap rate market went away.
Yeah,
right.
that's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, how smart to be on it and gear the team appropriately. It's a great move.
Yes. Yeah, it's really accelerated our growth. I mean, we've doubled our store count in the last 6 years, which is again, that started before I got here too. But we're continuing that acceleration and store growth.
As I was preparing for the interview, I shot out to the open world on LinkedIn and Twitter, just questions that might need to get asked of you. One of the questions was, "What's the top seller? What's the number one item sold at Marco's?"
Oh, it's pepperoni. I mean, that's without a doubt, it's pepperoni. But I listen, Chris. You said you're customers. I really really encourage you to try one of our Magnifico pizzas if you haven't already. The Ultimate Magnifico pizza is my personal favorite. I absolutely love it. Two types of pepperoni, 2 types of sausage. You just can't go wrong.
I should have given you the disclosure up front that I'm celiac. So I do.
We have cauliflower crust there too as well. But yeah, I understand.
Yeah, no, what I usually do is I do your cauliflower crust and then I eat really low carb. So I'm like one of those gross humans that gets a fork and then I just eat the toppings.
Well, you do know we have pizzas in the bowl too, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, you get a pizza without the carbs in here.
That's it. Yeah, that's my jam. So live in that keto world, Yeah, I have a funny landlord. I like to. We only have one of your stores, but we really like tenants that we like to shop at, right? And it's important for me, right? And good operaters. And like we've already talked about, we know your franchisee so well. So
yeah, Jacob is one of the best. He's absolutely amazing. And as I noted earlier, I work here because I believe in the product. You do business with Marcos because you believe in the product. So.
Well, that's big. So 100 stores, as you're looking into the future for 25 and trying to hit about that 200 store mark per year, that's pretty good growth, right? If you look at between now and 2030, then Marcos is sitting dang close to about 2,000 stores.
That's a goal, honestly, and that's where we need to get to. But we got to get to 1,300 and 1,400 and 1,500. But the expectation is that we're going to continue exponentially growing this business. I have to get to 10% year-over-year growth and then 15% year-over-year growth. So that's really what I'm getting. That's really what I'm targeting right now. And those are the goals that we set for my team, and the company is expecting us to hit it.
Are there any kind of fun new markets that you guys have entered recently that you're having some good success in?
Oh, new markets? No, we've been steady with the existing markets that we have. We get interest from different areas like Alaska. It's just a challenging market to enter. Would love nothing more to do Hawaii. I'll do the site tours there. I'll have to take those, Chris. There's no way around that.
Way to follow the sword there.
Yeah, right. I'll take one for the team and just go and do Hawaii as well. I got the honor to open up Hawaii for Jersey Mike, and it's not an easiest market as people think. It's also a bit challenging out there. So, but no, I can't say that we've opened up any exciting markets recently. We're just really concentrating on the core right now. Salt Lake is almost built out. Phoenix is another market for us that's plenty of growth. As I mentioned, California, surprisingly, is still growing for us. So I'm excited. A lot of exciting times, a lot of green space for us to grow.
Yeah, that's tremendous. It's interesting. We've been working with a handful of fast food groups that have chosen to close some of their stores in California. And they're citing, minimum wage problems, amongst other things. And then it's fascinating to talk, I've talked to a handful of retailers like yourself that are now actively expanding and possibly doing more growth in California than they've ever done. It's really the tale of two cities out there.
It really is. And again, I was a bit surprised when we started getting a lot of interest in California, and we spent some time and money really marketing the area out there, recruiting. So again, no one more surprised than I am right now in California, candidly.
For whatever reason, I have never gotten an ad ever on like Instagram or in Facebook or anything. And lately it just seems like one after the next, I keep having these franchise concepts hit me. And I don't know if I've just hit the customer profile or maybe I'm talking too close to my phone about, what I do for a living all day, every day. Right.
Yes.
It is funny though. It's interesting the way we're watching some of the franchisors find new franchise candidates.
Yeah, we do a lot of marketing on Meta and Google. And I don't know if our phones are listening to us or not, but there's a lot of data out there that goes behind really who we're targeting, how we're targeting them. Instagram's got some great analytics that really help you understand exactly who your customer is. So a lot of great data. Yeah, I mean, almost a little too much data for us to analyze, but we do have a business intelligence team here at Marcos that helps us really decipher all of that.
You've had a wonderful career, right? And you've been with a variety of concepts. So you've gotten to see things in multiple situations and got a lot of stores open. Tell us, Gerardo, what was a big, terrible mistake you've made in your career? We've got a lot of young people that listen to these episodes and new to the commercial real estate industry. What's something you did wrong?
I've made a lot of mistakes, Chris. I mean, I think if there's a lot of young people out there, if there's any advice you're going to take, understand that you're going to make a lot of mistakes. It's how you recover from them, and more importantly, how you learn from them. I've learned just as much from my mistakes, if not more, than my successes. So it's critical to understand that the mistakes are going to be made, own them, move on from there. But one of the biggest mistakes, I wouldn't say there's one single mistake itself, but one of the biggest mistakes I made it early in my real estate career is not understanding the relationship side of it. It is the real estate business is so entrenched on just sort of, I don't want to say a smart community of folks, but I'm gonna give you a prime example. There's a gentleman by the name of Vasily Delakas. I'm sure you know him with Phillips Edison. Him and I did one of our very, very first deals together in Page, Arizona, of all places. He flew down from Salt Lake. I flew up from Phoenix, and we met on site at a Safeway that Phillips Edison owned. To this day, 20 years later, we're really good friends. I can reach out to him when I'm having trouble getting the deal done with Phillips Edison, or he's having trouble getting the deal done with our franchisees. So the relationship business is absolutely true and dynamic here in this industry. So when you get an opportunity, don't let it slip by you. Don't make the mistake that I made of not understanding the relationship side of this industry. So it's critical that you find your Vasily of the world and you move forward from there. So as I mentioned, I thoroughly love this business because people are like you, Chris, and Vasily, who really make this industry really fun. And work hard. Honestly, work really hard. I mean, just when you work in the franchising business, you're not working from yourself, you're working for the franchisee. So keep that in mind as well. So,
I think I have about 20 years just over 20 years of experience as well since I entered the industry in 2002. I think the biggest thing of wealth that I have from a, working capital standpoint is all of the relationships I had gained over that time.
yes, you cannot put a monetary number on it. It is, but it is wealth. It is very much wealth that you can pick up the phone and call someone and say, "Hey, let's get through this. For your sake, for my sake, for the franchisee's sake, let's find a happy medium here and move this thing forward."
Yeah. I had a national QSR franchisee that was on the phone with us this morning, and they were describing how two of our deals were dying and why. And which is, a little bit frustrating for us. We've already closed on one of them and have money into the second one. And it's interesting, and you're sitting there talking and they're delivering this terrible news and they were really dreading the phone call. And I'm like, guys, it's okay. Like, let's all just breathe. Okay. Look, it's unfortunate. Let's try to figure out how we get out of these things. Let's come up with a plan of what's next. And that's all you could do. And that's the thing. In 10 years, I don't know where they're going to be and they don't know where I'm going to be. And we may need each other. Right. And there's no point in freaking out or losing your mind or got to keep that rep.
I've been with 4 or 5 different concepts, and each one of them, we always go back and we run into the same folks all over again. It's healthy to understand that you can always reach out to someone and say, "Hey, listen, it's an untenable situation, but let's see if we can figure out a way to get out of this together." And again, Chris, we pull different levers every day. No two deals are the same. And pulling that lever may not be the right one, but you don't know until you actually pull that lever. So, the young people of the world need to understand that there will be mistakes. There will be mistakes, but own them and move past them.
Yeah, I love that advice. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
To all the listeners out there that are listening, go get yourself a pepperoni pizza tonight, and then DM me a picture of it, and I'll send you a Dirt Dog hat.
Awesome.
So
awesome. I will send them a gift card as well, Chris.
I love that. There you go. You heard it here first. So, Gerardo, thank you for joining us on the Dirt Dog Pod.
Of course. Thank you for having me, Chris.